Hello everyone and welcome back to the Spearhead cast. With me, Matt. Welcome to Foy, or one of the maps that like to call themselves Foy. We have some slow falling snow on this one. Intriguing little graphic. Anyway, it's on the Eastern Front, so I guess it's not Foy, it's just somewhere on the Eastern Front in winter, except people still in their summer uniforms, which I'm not sure why, but I guess that's just how the map maker designed it. Anyway, let's go through the players. Representing the Soviet Union today, we have Malino without a commander choice. We have Sir Palk 1, or Pakl, yeah, as tank destroyer for the Soviet Union. And finally, Mac 923 as tank division, okay. And obviously no commander for Malino yet. Wehrmacht representing the Axis. We have Guderian as the Wehrmacht without a commander choice. We have I-19 as Fallschirmjäger Division for the Wehrmacht. And finally, Take the Beer and Watch My Game as Panzerjäger Tactics for the Waffen-SS. And this looks like a pretty interesting little map, very flat. Like it might be someone's near first attempt at making a map, at least with Foy. Like, mostly because it looks like it's a winter map, but it's not actually winter for the models, which is a little bit awkward, but I suppose that's just how they designed it. Let's see how the battles will turn out here on the early frost that's going on. Getting a lot of winter maps where they are not actually in winter for some reason recently. We'll just have the quiet before the storm. Germans are masses are forced to the north here. Very open with like very little cover. But the Russians are digging in because of that. Trying to get the cover they need and require. More Soviet forces running around. Skips getting around the battlefield. First shots are probably going to be fired soon. Like these sappers might be the ones shot at first, potentially. Once you get up behind these gravestones. Yep, first shots are fired here by the sappers and the pioneers. Yeah, well, there's been no fighting up here yet, but it'll soon happen. And these pioneers like to be overrun by the conscripts. We're trying to get close here. Trying to throw a Molotov. Oh, good throw too. Down to one pioneer, and he tries to get out of there. Looks like he makes it. You know, the Waffen-SS is pushing on the northern flank. Soviets are holding up behind their sandbags, vaulting over them. And the Germans now on the open. Fortunately for the Germans, they're fighting conscripts who don't have the best aim. Especially at long range. You know, the southern flank, the Wehrmacht is pushing up down here as well with their Volksgrenadier. Oh, but then it's picked the commander. Looks like it is Strafdivision, okay. So Straf, Fallschirmjäger and Panzerjäger. Against artillery, tank destroyer, and tank. Very interesting. Now the Waffen-SS have cover as well, which will definitely be to the Waffen-SS's advantage. Must be freezing with their hands here. They have no gloves on and the snow has fallen. Panzer's gonna try and flank. There's nothing to cover them. It's always important to cover your flanks. Molotov going up here. That's a good Molotov at that. And that's gonna force the Waffen-SS to back off. Even some Frontoviki nearby, and that's 2 Sturmgrenadiers killed in short succession. And that's why you need to cover your flanks, people. Especially on a wide map like this, it's easy to flank you. Especially against the Soviets, who can just overman you with so many units. Grenadiers aren't having a good time in this little graveyard. But the Germans have secured the southern flank. Somehow. Not gonna be an easy opening here for the Waffen-SS. 4 days being set up, but it's quite close to the front line. And the Russians are getting closer and closer. And look at all these conscripts that are just ready to make their move as well. Several machine guns coming up for the Soviets as well. Several Maxims. Some mines being laid as well into the snow. And now it's a little bit quiet again. Before the conflict continues. We have an MG-34 sitting up here behind this old truck. Which doesn't actually count as cover. How fascinating. Oh, and we have some gibbling there. But the Mthis do have the forward HQ up now. They're getting an MG42, probably to put inside this building any wager. Lots of windows on all sides, so not too bad.
What do you need?
We also have a down Stuka here, evidently. Marksman rifle here down front of Vicky for the southern flank. Planting some pot shots at the Germans. MP40 armed here, but they're moving up against the Maxim. Fine heavy copper. Looks like the range actually worked out pretty well, but Molotov from the tank hunters might do enough. And then the Maxim opening up as well. Grenade though. Good grenade. Good job from these folks grenadiers, all things considered, but they have to pull back. Buildings are now being used here by the Russians as they push up. They might try to demo charge the forward HQ if they can get up there. But they're laying mines on the road. But Germans are taking heavy losses. MG42 setting up here though. A little bit too far away to supplement apart from hitting one building. They can reinforce that though. Germans have secured the center of the town with a... Ooh, is that a Fallschirmjäger Stabsfeldwebel with a stolen Russian anti-tank rifle? Interesting. Lots of weapon teams on the southern flank at the moment, just to hold the Germans at bay somewhat. Germans gonna try and steal all the equipment they can, including this Maxim. And more Russians coming this way now, charging forwards with the conscripts. There's like a machine guns here. Well, there's a machine gun back here actually. Fully been set up here by the Panzergrenadiers, actually the Panzergrenadiers, Fallschirmjägers. Not looking good here for the Germans. Stabsfeldwebel has to get out of there, but I don't think he'll make it. Germans are suffering heavy losses. Mthis is able to at least somewhat secure their front line again. Mine goes off. They're destroying both buildings somehow. That's a strong mine. Grenadiers are doing their best here. They probably have to target down the Maxim, but too late. You also have guards coming up here for the tank destroyers. Pretty decent squad. Can actually sneak around. And the 4-2 rushing up here. Quickly being targeted down. Yeah, it's very hard to push up on an enemy machine gun. And now with the guards as well with SVTs. Yeah, now Maximus keeping the Germans at bay, but an MG42 is opening up. And a second MG42 behind it as well. So heavy weapons coming out here for the Mthis, allowing them to pin the Maxim and allowing the Sturm Grenadiers to push forwards. That's that Maxim. Oh, Grenadiers and Volksgrenadiers in trouble here. That's a lot of Russians. And they're out in the open right here. Not looking too good for them. The Mthis really needs to get some more units out, I think. And the Wehrmacht needs to probably invest in vehicles at some point. You do see a Waffenkammer come up here for the Fallschirmjägers who need it, because they lost a lot of their units in rapid succession.
An officer is awaiting orders.
Ooh, that's not good for that Volksgrenadier. They're getting cut down as they try to retreat here. And that's might be that from Savigi, yep. Good job with the MP40s for the Volksgrenadiers.
Death before retreat.
Panzer's gonna try and grab this PTIS. Now that was actually an MG34. 100 rounds, not bad. That's a pretty good haul for these conscripts. Well, these Sturm Grenadiers are fully replenished yet, but they're still being forced to head out. 3 men, 2 with a rifle and 1 with a machine gun. And they decide to fall back to replenish anyway. Maxim here now manned by the Mthis also being replenished. Russians have fortified the buildings here. Also have a T-60 coming to the northern flank here for the Soviet Union. Armed with an autocannon.
Anti-tank gun is ready for action.
Luftwaffe officer on the field but decides to fall back. After realizing he faced a little bit too much resistance than he thought.
Forces are capturing our supplies.
But Germans have secured the northern flank now with the Sturm Pioneers. Equipped with the Flammenwerfer 41, which has a longer range than you'd think. Really long range for a flamethrower. But here comes the T-60, and out in the open, it'll kill down the German infantry pretty freaking fast, I think. More fighting going on here against the Russian positions around the church. You have an airdrop coming overhead here for the Wehrmacht. Probably airdropping in some weaponry. Yep, looks like we have an airdrop of some pack and a machine gun, I think. No, a mortar and a light infantry gun. Okay. But here's the T-60 now. Now in the open, it's just shredding into the Germans. There's a Panzerjäger squad nearby, but I need to set up here. This, and another one hits. Shame we don't have the winter uniforms, because the winter uniforms for these guys are pretty freaking cool in my opinion. Like a completely, almost white uniform, so they blend in. You almost have some pretty cool winter uniforms, honestly, in this game. Valentine tank moving up here now for the Soviet Union. There's a lack of AT equipment here to stop it, so... And the Russians also laid a lot of mines. Our conscripts get mowed down. Oh, and good job with the Panzerjäger still. That's just a good squad to have around if you're playing as Panzerjäger. We have a mortar here and counter barrage for the Wehrmacht. Trying to deal with the Russian mortar. Also a Panzer 4 F1 here, and one in the center as well. So lots of light tanks now available for the Germans. Although this is technically a medium tank. Oh, good shot there on the tank destroyer guards. Did you just call them anti-tank guards? Probably. Small 80 gun though, getting a good shot on the F1. F1's armor is not that impressive, and it gets taken out. Anti-tank gun quickly moving down here. This one is unique to tank destroyer, I'm pretty sure. The 57mm. Ooh, and the tank's turning around. That's not good. Good shot down the rear. But I managed to get behind the building and to safety. Meanwhile, the Soviets are securing the southern flank with a penal squad as well. F1 is relocating to the southern flank. After is securing some parts of the north. But a lot of it's just open terrain. Like, it's perfect terrain for, like, tanks. Because of how open it is. Goes with T-34-76 here. And here's the F1. Nothing here can really counter it. Even the tank, not tank hunters, the Strafniki have no anti-tank equipment. We do have a satchel charge, but that's not the easiest to get on the tank. Yeah, the Soviets had to pull back here. Anti-tank raids flying out here from the launches. Taking out the Dushka team. Oh, well, a lot of action here on this one. The map is just a little weird. Valentine here. That could actually go either way. Because the Valentine has a pretty decent gun for its size. There we go. The Panzer F1 was also already damaged. Russian Air Force flying overhead here. And now the Germans have no anti-tank equipment out here. They are getting Panzerfaust and one Volksgrenadier though. And the Kettenhunde is on the field here. German military police. To oversee the front line. A very intriguing squad, the Kettenhunde.
We have lost the squad.
They'll be able to staff only. We also have a lieutenant here of the Luftwaffe. Present to oversee the front line. Oh, some Brandenburgers was on the field. Unique battle group available to Fallschirmjäger, essentially German spec ops. That's the best way to describe them anyway. Not the easiest to use. They're only 3 men and they have ace training. But they can sneak it, but... Like, can they even sneak anymore? They might not be able to sneak anymore. So I think that really makes them not be useful if they can't sneak. Of course, it might just be that the sneak buttons not show up here for me. They do not show up on the minimap though, so at least that's a thing. Several T-34s being prepared on the northern flank, good to see. They're going to try and use the open terrain to their advantage and overrun the Waffen-SS's front line. The Waffen-SS only have the Panzerjägers in one pack to deal with enemy tanks. In the open field, that might be to the tanks' advantage, because they can just circle around quickly. Nothing to stop their movement. Also T-70 on the southern flank here. Because the Valentine actually got taken out, probably by the Volksgrenadier. Anyway, we have a mortar fight going on. Panther barrage going in towards the Soviet normal barrage. Oh, the Valentine's still here now, my bad. But there we go, Valentine got taken out. It's because the Valentine was from a different player, that's why I didn't see it. At least on the hot bar up here. So it recon team in some outfit that would probably make them stand out in the snow, in my opinion. Several T-34s are being amassed. They might see a Soviet tank pushed over the snow. Yeah, the mortar shells keep firing. T-70 down here almost got destroyed by something. Ah, the pack probably. One more shot should do it if they could see it. And the Soviets are just holding on here. But we'll need to keep an eye whenever this tank push happens, because that's going to be a big deal. I think that might actually be what will be able to overrun the German defenses, unless the Germans have just been very good at holding back tanks somehow. They do a Panzerfaust out of most of the units, including a Stormtrooper squad now. And be able to all Waffen-SS commandos, just a lot better elite infantry you can get. Very costly though, and if you're playing as Panzerjäger, they do arrive with Panzerfausts. Normally don't have Panzerfausts. Ooh, Brandenburgers got spotted, and yes, they can stealth, okay. But they died. Tank destroyer guards killed them in quick succession. He can equip some SVTs. Oh, the Luftwaffe keeps flying overhead, dropping in some weapons here for the and supplies for the Waffen-SS, not the Waffen-SS, for the Luftwaffe itself to use. Including an Aufklar nearby. HE-76 pushing up here. Probably to serve as a distraction before the main tank assault. Artillery being called in here. Mine still in the way for the German infantry. HE-76 is in trouble and gets taken out by the pack. T-34s are staying back for now. They need to build more of a mass of them, I feel. Battle stunning the Frontalvigi there, but more Frontalvigi pushing up. And Pioneers cannot handle that. And down here we also have a firefight between the Penals and the Volksgrenadiers, and then the Conscripts flank. A good little diversion. They're trying to get a grenade off, I think. Well, actually a Molotov. And they managed to get it off! Right on the machine gun.
We have lost an MG team.
And a lot of action suddenly. Germans are trying to just hold them back, but they do have a Panzer IV-H arriving, which will certainly help. Looks like the Soviets also mounting out infantry. They're getting some tank riders ready, which is actually a feature all fascists can do based in Company of Heroes 3 tank riding, which is a nice thing. We also have Siberians here. Unfortunately not in the camouflage that fits the winter terrain. What can you do though? Also, recon teams do not capture territory anymore, in case you're wondering. You can safely sneak them behind enemy lines without being detected. Also, some more Brandenburgers have been called in with a half-track. Conscripts are pushing up here to try and take out the Panzerjägers. Molotov, one flash in return. Actually hitting the recon team. But now with the Panzerjägers gone, the T-34s are making their move. No tank riders this time. Only a pack to stop them. And Spoil's down here being flanked by T-70. T-70 cannot do much to this thing. He's too close to fire. Also actually do a little bit of damage there. But here comes the T-34s. Machine guns ripping into them. High explosive kills the team. That's a lot of machine guns on all these tanks. Like, the frontal side of a tank is scary. That's 2 machine guns. Panzerfaust on the flank though. It's not going off. For some reason. I think they have to cancel it and do it again. And the T-34s are just running through the SS troops. There's just too much machine gun fire here. And like there's no cover, it's just too open. Lots of T-34s. And then more of them are just arriving. They are very cheap to call in. Because they're playing a Soviet tank. Like, how cheap are they again? Yeah, 300 manpower and 55 fuel. Yeah, that is insane. So that's another T-34-76 coming this way. And I don't think the Germans can stop it. Let's see if these Panzerjägers can do anything for this building, though. Takes out one. He will try and take out that HQ, though, but they might be pulling back instead. At least, oh, okay, never mind. The Panzerjäger is actually doing a pretty good job for that building. Look, they might be able to destroy the forward HQ. Yep, they do succeed in that. I think they're too close to hit it with the Panzerschreck. Because it does have a minimum range. And that crew's doing a lot of work with that machine gun. Sure, they lost 3 T-34s, but they did so much damage, they can still keep pushing. Luftwaffe is doing their best to dig in here. Panzer IV H, pull in again. And we also have one on the southern flank. Panzerfaust, actually that was an anti-tank raid, destroys the T-34 up here by the Luftwaffe. But the Russians just keep advancing. Siberians showing up here. They will be able to spot the Brandenburgers because the Siberians count as recon infantry. But Brandenburgers do it. Oh my god, the Brandenburgers killed them so quick down there out in the open. Despite being a 3-man team. But they are ace skill and they do have an MG42 on them. So one of them mow down infantry. So we do have some tank destroyer guards nearby throwing a grenade. Who the Brandenburgers have noticed. And that kills them. Very costly squad to lose like that. More Brandenburgers sneaking around here. Need to be very cautious though with their movements. Panzer IV on the southern flank taking out some T-34s. The Panzer IV can handily deal with the normal T-34-76, especially the H variant. Like this thing is probably the best version of the Panzer IV available to the Germans. 76 gonna try and flank. Does penetrate though. Not good for the German tank. But it reloads fast enough. We also have SU-85s arriving now, which will be able to hew through the Panzer IVs and be able to Soviet tank destroyer. T-34 now scooting around here and firing on the front line. There's a lack of AT equipment for the Luftwaffe. We do have Raketenwerfer nearby. We also have the SU-85 showing up here, loading a high explosive shell. Kills the Storm Pioneer. Brandenburgers nearby though.
Panzer Grenadiers standing by.
MT-42 inside the building here for the Mthis again. Brandenburgers have to decide where they want to go with that flamethrower. More T-34s massing up here. The Kettenhunde digging in the southern flank. Very static down here at the moment. But lots of various weapons being used by both sides. Flamethrower on the HU-85. HU-85 has no anti-infantry capability apart from a high explosive round. There's no machine guns. So it's very vulnerable to be moved up on by enemy infantry. But there's a T-34 nearby and the anti-tank guards with SVTs. Panzerfaust almost destroying the HU-85. High explosive load on the Brandenburgers. Only kills one of them though. But a machine gun almost finishes off the rest. There you go. Panzer IV to be cautious because there is an HU-85 that can turn its gun on it. And the tank guards are trying to get close here with the Panzerfausts. Grabbing an MG42 off the ground. Or will they be able to get out of there is the question. Looks like they will. More T-54s have amassed. Now that's 4 T-34s against the Panzer IV-H. By a long range, it does have superior armor. You know, the southern flank, we have another Panzer IV pushing up. Mines take out a squad there. Brandenburger sneaking around, needs to be very cautious. Grabbing more weapons off the ground here. Trying to kill the squad, but immediately gets suppressed. Cheeky attempt there by the Brandenburgers, but not good enough. Panzer IV pushes up here again. Taking out the cash. You also have a second Panzer IV here arriving. But the Panzer IVs will be able to allow the Germans, I think, to maintain a front line somewhat. Oh shit, that's another T-34 though. And one penetration is also that will cause this Panzer IV to decide to pull back. One has been immobilized though. Panzer X can simply not fire out in the open like that. Too much fire on them. Not enough cover for them to utilize. But the Soviets are lacking the equipment to stop the Panzer IVs down here. So the German mortars are firing again, including the heavy mortar. Basically a direct copy of the Soviet heavy mortar, available to Strafdivision. Another T-34, but there's another Panzer IV to support as well. That's another T-34 looking out. And more T-34s are arriving up here, but Raketenwerfer is now entrenched in the building. That'll certainly help the German defense. But the Soviets are getting a lot of other units present here. Double HU-85 now. HU-76 as well for the Soviet artillery commander. Looks like the Soviets might just try to overrun the Raketenwerfer potentially. Well, that's one thing. So the Krautmoor is currently entrenched to try and deal with enemy aircraft. Not that it's had much luck, I think. And the German mortars keep maintaining their counter barraging. Try and deal with the Soviet ones. I imagine the heavy mortars actually doing a lot of work here in that regard. If he could hit anything, of course. HU-85 on the southern flank to deal with the Panzer IVs. Needs to be cautious, though its armor's not that impressive, actually. It has a good gun, but its armor's not the best. There's very much of a glass cannon when dealing with enemy tanks.
Combat engineers are standing by.
Ooh, conscripts getting a little bit too close there. Almost got off that anti-tank rate, though. Generally running towards a tank out in the open is not a good idea, as you can probably tell. Especially against its front, where it has machine guns. So let's keep trying to push up here. This is the Constance with the MG34. Bring them all. Oh! Didn't manage to get the Molotov off. And they're getting too close here. And got cut down there in the open.
The enemy has killed another infantry squad. Panzer force standing by.
So Panzer force have been prepared down here now. Which I think the Soviets could, not the Soviets, the Germans could use to push up. We do see a howitzer now available for the Soviet Union. The 122mm. Panzer IV pushing up through the center. Use the high explosive round there to destroy most of their anti-tank guards. Little T-34s are still around and being prepared. Looks like they're being diverted somewhere.
Yes, comrade. We need orders.
Issue 76 in the center, but that's not really gonna do much against a Panzer IV frontally, but that 80 gun almost killed it, so... T-34s are moving around and then applying themselves to other parts of the front, I suppose. That is one advantage of them, you can have them basically everywhere. Oh, Brandenburg's fancying the grenade off. Not enough, though. Oh, will the last Brandenburger make it? Looks like he does. Still boxed up here by the Germans on the southern flank. Now they have a little bit of a staring contest. Light infantry gun is also shelling them. We actually see a Jagdtiger. The Germans actually managed to get a Jagdtiger onto the field. That honestly surprises me. Just because how bad the Waffen-SS were doing, but I suppose they held on long enough to get it. But I'm not sure how useful it'll be depending on the circumstances. That's how the Russians decide to deal with it, I suppose. HGD5 present here. And looks like the crowd mode keeps trying to do its best to deal with the Luftwaffe. Not really having any luck though.
Command squad on the field.
Panzer IV taken out.
One of our emplacements is under attack.
Yeah, but I think the Soviets need to act. They're just allowing the Germans to build up again. Oh, nice. They have initiated 76 here on anti-infantry duty with the high explosive shells. And more artillery going in here. That's gonna be heavy Soviet artillery, by the way. The Soviet artillery is pretty heavy, as you can see. Denying both those buildings permanently. Jagdtiger is now revealing itself, though. And I think the Soviets realize, and they need to try and see if they can overrun it with T-34s. Almost it's hogging in the corner of the map, which is pretty useful for it. Lots of artillery shells being flung here.
We have a forward structure under attack. Ready for action.
I think it's just silent at the moment. Meanwhile, the Jagdtiger takes slow shots at the Russian positions. Okay. More mines being laid here by the Soviets. That's probably a good call, because if that Jagdtiger drives over a mine, it might be immobilized and make it basically useless. I think the Germans can see they're mining it thanks to the Alf class flare. But very good play there from the Soviets.
Prepare to execute.
And Jagdtiger's just slowly taking out all the entrenchments. Center still being bombed to hell.
Unit ready.
And it's a little bit quiet on the front line again, but we have some Fallschirmjägers trying to push up for the center. And with FT-42s and a Panzerschreck.
One of our forward buildings.
Getting into the trench. Which actually was a good call because it allowed them to destroy the HG-76.
We are suffering vehicle losses.
Break inside the trench though, force them out.
Supply sector under attack.
Vandenberg sneaking up as well. The Arctic to another entrenchment. Big minefield being laid here by the Soviets. As the staying contest continues on the southern flank. Arctic keeps an eye on the Soviets that are still building up. Oh, the anti-tanker Hunter's got an MT-42. Useful. Vandenberg is actually doing really well out in the open somehow. Probably because this corpse is considered light cover. Okay. You can see how effective they are just because they're in cover. But the instant they lose that, they're not that good. You don't want to be out in the open generally, even with lead infantry. Stormtroopers pushing up here.
Commander abilities ready.
Yaktik is slowly driving up now. D-45 Ace has arrived to oversee the tanks. Tank contest continues, but big artillery strike from the Stukas of First. Kashmir is in the center with a blank corber on the Frontaviki, slowly poisoning them. But it's just Soviets on all angles. Yaktik push. Oh, it turned around! Cruise days, there might actually be the opening the Soviets could have used. Yaktik doesn't have enough sight to get a good vision on the 85. There it goes. Here comes the swarm. They'll just need to immobilize this thing. '85 is at the flank, and he gets it. Very good maneuver there from the Soviets, using that 76s to be the front line, and the 85 flanks using the flat terrain. That's how you do it on a flat open map, or at least a flat open section on a map like this. It's really good terrain for tank combat. Oh yeah, it's not looking good for the Germans now. Because that Jagdtiger is gonna open them up a lot on the northern flank here for the Soviet tank army. Luftwaffe is doing their best to push it through the center though to buy some time. But there's just too many Soviet troops coming in. Oh, good great assault right there. And at that point, the Germans surrender. Pull back from here. Well, I hope you all enjoyed this little weird map. I'll see you all in the next one, everyone. Bye-bye.